Hi, my name is Amanda Simpson, and I'm going to share my signature project recap with you, the effect of ethnic grouping on reading proficiency gains. I want to share a little bit of research behind my project. Researchers are adamant that ethnic diversity among classroom communities influences overall academic proficiency growth. In addition, studies indicate a lower achievement level among students in classes with a higher ratio minority students than in classes with a diverse ethnic student population. So I started learning early on some of this research when I began grad school classes. And it was alarming to me because I work at a school that's 85% African American. And so I thought, that's not fair. Does an ethnicity determine a learning style or if we're able to achieve gains? But what I realized is that it didn't have anything to do with biology. It had everything to do with the demographics, that we're all kind of coming out of the same pond. Same vocabulary, same experiences, same limited experiences. And so that somewhat diminishes our ability to achieve more than marginal reading gains, even when the best practices are in place. So that brings me to my problem. My problem is that reading growth begins to stagnate after first grade due to a lack of ethnic diversity. So my proposal for this project was that students sitting in a homogeneous classroom need additional measures to their instruction in order to achieve proficiency gains. That's what I want to see. Could we get beyond marginal gains? So I'm going to share some data. This is first grade data from my school from 2019 to 2021. As you can see, in 2019, my first graders are 85% proficient. In 2020, this is mid-year. This isn't the end of the year like 2019 and 2021 are. This is mid-year. My students are 75% proficient, which if they had finished the year, they would have been 90% proficient because we track at about 15% growth between each screener. And then in 2021, it's a little wonky, it's a little off, 76% proficient. We were right there at the grade level benchmark to be considered proficient. We met benchmark. This put us in the green. We go by colors, but we weren't at 80%. And so this was a little difficult. This was trying to get kids back into school. We had kids in and out. We had kids who were kindergartners and didn't complete kindergarten. They came to first grade and didn't know all their letters and sounds. And so achieving 76% was great. So these kids are tested solely on, their composite comes solely from ORF. So they're accurate and automatic when they leave first grade. They're beginning to delve into comprehension, but it's DOK1, very simple comprehension. This is my second through fourth grade reading proficiency percentages. And so I have it by year. 2019 is blue. So the kids that were in second grade in 2019 are in third grade in 2020, and then fourth grade in 2021. And as you can see, it's just very marginal changes. And again, this 2020 is a mid-year data. It is an accurate picture of where we are mid-year. So my action plan. I took two classes. Actually, I took a class A, which was one class that was already assembled. It was a class of 18 ethnically diverse students. They had different backgrounds. And then I took from my other three third grade classrooms, I used an online tool to randomly select 36 third graders. But my other three classrooms are composed of nothing but African American students. So when I got the results back from the tool, I did not read them. I just forwarded it to our bookkeeper who slid it in an envelope until the end of the school year. So the plan was that 4 third grade teachers would collaborate. 3 of us would collaborate on additional research-based methods to increase reading proficiency. The one teacher would continue with the traditional measures that we use. So my class A teacher, she continued those same practices that we do, differentiated learning, comprehension and vocabulary practices and strategies. And she also has a good room for conversation in her classroom, so she did that. But the rest of us, we implemented those measures. But on top of that, we set the room into a table talk environment. So 3 to 4 students were put together, their desks were put together as a table talk group. We built background knowledge, vocabulary. If there was a topic they weren't familiar with, we spent a whole day investigating it and getting ready to learn about it. And then we implemented an MSTI strategy, talk moves. It's just basically language stems that students use to talk about their learning or to talk about their investigation or to reflect back. And for reading, we told them that it all has to come back to the text evidence. So it has to point back to text evidence. So the teachers did this for 5 weeks. And at the end of 5 weeks, we screened our early literacy end of the year screener. So the composite for that is ORF, vocabulary and comprehension. So we screened that and then we compared our results. The validity of the Ames Web has a high validity coefficient, 0.83. We know at 0.80, that is the holy grail. You've got a great valid assessment if you have that. And then the reliability coefficient is 0.92. I wasn't worried about any threat to the study because everything was confidential. No one knew what students were being chosen. Everyone was interested in seeing if this was going to make a difference so we could do something different next year with third grade being an accountability grade. So no threat there at all. Ethical considerations. I really, before I started this project, I really thought long and hard about it because I didn't want to offend anyone. I really didn't talk about it with a lot of people. I mean, my third grade teachers were all on board, and they're ethnically diverse themselves, so it wasn't just all one, ethnicity. We just wanted to see what would make a difference. Was the research right? How did it apply to us? And so I did not send any letters home with students because the students were identified. For me, I identified them. I was the only one that saw the student listed in, and they were identified as student 1, student 2, student 3 for my class B. Everyone knew my control group was that class A with the 18 students. And I had no choice. I had to go with that one class because that was my only class of ethnically diverse students. I didn't have anyone anywhere else to pull from to have maybe 2 test groups. So this was the end results. So as you see, my class A, my class of 18 students at the end of the year, scored 61% proficient on the Ames Web Early Literacy Screener. My class B, which was my random selection and 36 students, scored 63% proficient. So we had a 2% growth in 5 weeks. The State Department typically likes for us to set our goals at 3 to 5% for a whole school year. So in 5 weeks, we grew 2%. So my reflections on that are what would happen if we started this from day one, August the 4th, 2022. What would my data look like at the end of the year? If we met almost that 3% that the state likes for us to set for 180 days, and we met 2% for 25 days, what would happen? Thank you for your time. I hope that you enjoyed my project.